I propose a question. Why do you play video games? You ask anyone that, you'll get a variety of answers. To escape the real world, to connect with your friends, but the most common answer you'll probably hear is, to have fun.
If it's not fun, why bother?
I don't think most people would be playing games if they weren't enjoying themselves while doing it. That's been the goal of games since their inception, to entertain you before it's back to the 9 to 5. And while one could play devil's advocate and argue what constitutes as fun, we're not here to talk about that today. And speaking of fun, this video is sponsored by Opera GX. How are you gamers today? I love all my gamers fans. And you know who else loves my gamers fans? Opera GX. That's why they're here to show off their gamers browser. You see your browsers today? See how bland and sterile they are? Well, Opera GX is not like that. It is the best browser for gamers. You can find what you like on the DX store. The best store for gamers, themes, and mods for gamers, like me. And the effects the mods give you, we're talking special wallpapers, sound effects when you type, background music, all that and even more. You can customize your browser in any way you see fit. And not only that, it contains all of this and doesn't consume nearly as many resources compared to other browsers. That's so gamers. Using the power of AI, Opera GX can optimize your browsing experience to help you find what you need. Opera GX even has their own gamers corner called the GX Corner, so you can keep up with all your current gamers news, including the best game deals and even free games. You can click my link in the description below to download Opera GX. And if you're worried about switching browsers, don't worry. Opera GX is optimized to where it will keep all your settings from your previous browsers. It's even compatible with every Google Chrome extension. So, click the link in the description below to download the perfect browser for gamers today. Thank you Opera GX for sponsoring this video. One thing you will inevitably encounter when playing games, though, is frustration. Something in any game you will play will annoy you at some point. It does not matter the genre of the game, it could be the least high-stakes game of all time, and it could still have something to piss you off. You ever try to catch a certain fish in Animal Crossing, but you just can't do it? Those who have know the feeling. With the Souls games becoming popular over the years, there is this feeling of playing games where they beat your ass and can make you fly in a fit of rage really quick, but that in of itself is debatable if that could qualify as fun. But what makes it all worth it is when you finally overcome that difficult challenge. That feeling you get is the best feeling in the world.
Who's the big meat now, motherfucker? Just give me a minute. I just need a minute, okay?
Beating something incredibly difficult can reap its own rewards, but then there's an entirely different level. What about the type of games that are flat out unfair and cheap, made purely to piss you off and milk your reactions? Welcome to the Rage Game.
Oh my god!
Time limit, after all.
There are plenty of these on the web, and they were especially big back in the day. And to this day, a new one still comes up every once in a while to piss your favorite streamers and YouTubers off.
This one...
We're going to be taking a look at some of the old school ones. The legacy of these older ones will still live on, for a multitude of reasons. Welcome to... All different genres of games have to start from somewhere. You can trace games made to purposely piss you off all the way back to the 80s, with games like Takeshi's Challenge, a game made to be as obnoxious and cryptic as possible by a man who didn't even like video games. It's just one cruel prank on all the players. It could be said this is the first real Rage game, but I'm mostly sticking to the ones that were popular online, and the internet didn't really exist back in the 80s, so it doesn't count. But we're sticking to the land of the rising sun, because coincidentally, the creation of the Rage game as I knew it still comes from here. On the Message Board 2 channel, the popular Japanese message board, older than most of my audience, in the 2000s they created all these different emoticons that were quite nifty back then, that the most obnoxious people on social media now use all the time. Have emoticons combined with something awful happening for the funny. They were very popular on the site, and they even created little stories with just the characters from the emoticons. And eventually, someone will make a game based on these things. A user just known as King, on January 1st, 2007, would create The Big Adventures of Owata's Life. This is the true granddaddy of internet rage games. Okay, so starting the game off, you can see a moving platform. You jump on it and... Okay, I'm dead. So now you jump on the platform, jump off, and now I can get past... I think I'm starting to regret this video idea. Welcome to what you're going to see for the majority of this video. Nothing but death. These games, since their inception, were built around one thing. Cheap deaths. Unless you have the reflexes of a god, you will never have the time to react to most of these. It's all based around trial and error. Something will look completely innocent, and then when you get close to it, BAM! You're dead. It keeps you on edge the entire time. You know the game's going to kill you in some cheap way, but how is it going to kill you? How will you adapt? Am I actually having fun playing this? It plays like a bullshit version of Mega Man, and it's semi-non-linear. It's got the sound effects of Mega Man and has a bunch of references to other games, all of which want you dead. There's a couple of boss battles, which are Mega Man styled, including a boss fight against... No, it can't be. I thought the world had forgotten, but he's here, and he's out for blood. That aside, there really isn't anything all that special about this game today. If you know exactly what you're doing, you can beat the game in 15 minutes. But with the game constantly trying to screw you over at every turn, that's not really likely. The best thing about this game is the art style, how everything is built out of emoticons. It's really charming. The game isn't really remembered for what it was, but for what it inspired. There was a section in this game that was a clear nod to 1-1 in Super Mario Bros., and a fellow Japanese game maker will look at that section and create his own version of this concept, Syobon Action, also known as Cat Mario. Now this probably looks way more familiar to a lot of you. This game is a recreation of the first world of Super Mario Bros., made to be as annoying and bullshit as possible. Oh, you thought a mushroom was gonna help you? Well, no, it makes you swallow and you break to the floor and die. Oh, you thought you could step in this innocent-looking nook? Nope, it's a trap. Kill yourself to get out. Even when you think you've beaten the level and dodged the flagpole's killer laser, the game always has something up its sleeve. It's become more so about what you can and can't trust. A game of memorization more than skill. There's only 4 levels of this, and 4 levels is all it needs. Even when you think you've figured it all out, the game is 2 steps ahead. You just never know what the game is going to throw at you next. Oh my god, he's back! Now there's multiple variations of this game that can be found all over the web, with a bunch of differences and tweaks here and there. There is an English version I found that seems to run faster than the original, so if you want to torture yourself in high speed, there's that. Good luck getting into the end of this, especially in some versions with the cryptic ending.
And all that trouble for an end screen that I can't even read.
This game would basically kick off the trend for the entire rage game genre. All the tropes are here in one nice little package. The game's popularity was a slow burn. It kinda came out, then over time, slowly grew in popularity. YouTubers would come around to it and play it, get angry at its unfair difficulty, and thus their fans want to try it out for themselves.
Oh no! Ah! I forgot about that.
It would also spawn a bunch of sequels and spin-offs, and even other fan games. So if you're a glutton for punishment, there's plenty to choose from.
Bloop! Woo! What's up?
Oh!
So yep, that's about all there is to it. It's Mario, as a cat, and everything in the level wants you to die, and you'll get very, very angry.
Ah!
Even though the previous game is where it all started, a lot more people would play and take inspiration from Syobon Action. In fact, 2007 seems to be the nexus point for brutally difficult games in general. It was the year these 2 games came out. It was also the year the very first Kaizo ROM hack for Super Mario World came out. Kaizo being the term used to describe horrifically difficult ROM hacks.
Oh, what? What?
In fact, most of the games in this video come from 2007. Yeah, we just really like pissing ourselves off that year. For what reason, I have no clue. But hey, it had to start somewhere, and it started here. Thank you for all the migraines. Now there's tons of games that are made to do nothing but raise your anger endorphins. There's plenty to choose from, but only a few are really interesting to talk about. Take a look at this game, for example, the self-proclaimed world's hardest game. Well, your shape, and you dodge other shapes. Story of my life. I mean, what do you want me to say about this? You want a plot summary or something? This is as self-explanatory and basic as you can get. Oh, I'm so angry. Grrr. You get the idea. So yeah, let's keep it interesting. How about we go from some rage platformers to a rage quiz game?
Come on, big bucks, no whammies, big bucks, no whammies, stop! Ah!
You lost big time! Kiss my ass, bitch! You are a loser!
Yeah, it's time for the Impossible Quiz. The Impossible Quiz was released in February of 2007. Coincidentally, the exact same month that Syobon Action came out. Created by a DeviantArt artist named SplatMeDo, Splap apparently started development on this game just for a small group of friends, but eventually fleshed the entire game out and released it for the entire internet to play. And play it they did. A lot of people are really nostalgic for this thing. Me included. I have my own story with this game that I'll tell once I break the game down for you all. Most quiz games are usually questions about topics that can be easily identifiable in the real world, or about a certain topic that you may or may not know about. This game throws all that out the damn window and presents you with the most nonsensical questions imaginable. This is question 1. How many holes in Apollo? 1? Nope. Nope. 4? Oh, it meant the word Apollo. There's 4 holes. That's pretty clever, but I'm already almost dead. And that was only question 1. Only 109 more to go! And they only get worse from here on out. This entire quiz is filled with trick questions and incredibly cryptic ones requiring you to think outside the box. Like this one, where you actually go outside the box to click on this button. There are parts of this quiz that are really clever, and others that are probably going to roadblock you. Some questions you can maybe figure out the solution, and the others are just, they're blind guesswork. It could be any one of these. Every time you die, you go right back to question 1. No ifs, ands, or buts. And it is really grating having to go through the entire quiz again just to get back to where you were. Now, it would be handy to have an answer list on standby, but that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the game, doesn't it? Answer lists are for losers. The game does give you some leeway by giving you a skip feature every few questions so you can skip the ones you don't want to risk. Or so it would seem that way. We'll get back to that. And it's not just multiple answer trivia questions either. It'll also have little challenges for you to overcome in it as well. You might have to dodge meteorites, or charge up and fire your laser. Oh, yeah, this is a relic of its time. 2007, how I miss thee. There's a lot of things of the time found here, but that's actually to the quiz's detriment, because some of these questions are pop culture references to things around 2007. There's a question near the end which is based on the TV show Lost, and if you don't get the reference, you can't answer the question. Oh, by the way, you have 10 seconds to understand the reference. Oh, I forgot to mention, a good chunk of these questions are timed, and if that bomb goes off, it doesn't matter how many lives you have, it's an instant game over. Back to the start. This isn't really the impossible quiz, it's more so the cruel quiz. I can't even take in some of these questions because the timer— son of a bitch! Don't look at that! I dare you to go try this game out for yourself and go in completely blind while playing it. You aren't gonna have a good time. Well, I'm acting as if this game wasn't immensely popular back in the day, because it was. It was the #1 game on Newgrounds when it came out. And then a few years later, of course the YouTubers had to get in on it.
For what? For what?
I saw it! What follows December 2nd? A question mark. December 3rd? 142 dwarves?
My personal experience with this game was when I was in middle school. I had a class in the computer lab, and instead of doing my work like I was supposed to, I would scour the internet for games to play, which was more difficult than it sounds due to them blocking almost everything. Then one day I discovered a website that wasn't blocked and it had this on it. And while I tried my hardest to get through the game blind, and no luck at finding the answers online since the school blocked everything, I slowly chipped away at the answers. That's when a bunch of other kids discovered me playing the game and wanted to play too. I gave them all the link, and then the vast majority of the computer lab was racing to be the first ones to beat the game for the next few school days. The teacher, I think, was in a coma because I don't think anyone actually got caught. Now, who was the winner? Well, I can't really remember. It's been so long. This was like 2008, I want to say. But it sure as hell wasn't me. Well, at least I can take great pride knowing I got everyone nothing but F's for the next couple of days in class. So, if you want to go check this one out for yourself, or want to go relive some nostalgic memories, go do so. Because right now, I'm about to spoil the final question of the game. And if you want to see it for yourself, go for it. But this final question is perhaps the cruelest of them all. After an agonizing 109 questions, after repeating the quiz over and over and over again, some of which you either brute forced or used to skip on, you come face to face with the final question, and it asks for one simple thing. Use all of your skips. And thus, the hearts of many were shattered. This is one of the cruelest things I have ever seen in a rage game. It gives you the false hope of an option to make things easy for yourself, only to never tell you you actually need all of them to beat the game. You have to complete every question and save up on all the skips, and if you don't, back to square one!
I'm not even mad anymore. I don't even fucking care anymore.
That's how you make a rage game, alright. You can't really top that kind of cruelty. I mean, the game has sequels and spin-offs, which are more of the same. They're all still pretty good, I'd say, but the OG will always be remembered for stealing the time of many, and none of them have that huge middle finger of a final question like the original had. And it's there to remind you, some men just want to watch the world, and you, burn. Ah, the illusion of simplicity. You don't really know how hard it is until you try it. This game about shapes dodging other shapes looks really easy until you try it for yourself. This game about a bird going through pipes looks really simple until you try it for yourself. On that related note, he took his soul away. Simplicity is the easiest way to get someone to try your game out. And with that, we must now look at the prime example of this, QWOP. QWOP was made by a man named Bennett Foddy, an Aussie who majored in philosophy before making video games as a hobby on the side, and he did it completely for fun. His first game was a game called Too Many Ninjas, a simple little flash game about blocking ninjas and projectiles, and also involves the movement of your body. This will all come into play in just a minute. He would continue his career as a research assistant in philosophy while making games on the side, and then only on his third game, in late 2008, he would create his claim to fame, QWOP. And little did he know what he had just made. QWOP is a very simple game in concept. You play as an Olympic athlete and your goal is to finish a 100-meter run. Go from left to right. Except, that's the illusion of the simplicity. Because in reality, it's not. It's called QWOP because those are the keys on your keyboard you play the game with. You're not controlling the athlete like Super Mario Bros., you're controlling their muscle joints with each of the keys. And with that simple idea, you're now playing a rage game. It is way more difficult than it sounds. And the thing is, that's all there is to the game. The main obstacle for the entire game is the controls. You will be spending the majority of the game fighting the controls, and just trying to keep yourself balanced. You'll be lucky to make it a few feet before eating dirt. It's like this guy has that bonitis disease from Futurama. He just crumbles up like a piece of paper with little to no effort. It's all about finding the right rhythm to get by, and still sometimes that isn't enough. I've seen world record speedruns on YouTube of this game. No doubt people have played this game for hundreds of hours and have mastered it. And still, even there it looks like the guy's ready to flip over backwards and then shit himself. You know, I wonder if even Bennett Foddy himself has gotten to the end of this. It'd be funny if he didn't, and I couldn't blame him. Well, actually I could. So you've seen basically everything the game has to offer in the first few minutes, but it's not like you need much else. It's an endurance test to see how far you can get, if you can even make it to the finish line. And a lot of people have tried this, because this game was a smash hit online. How and why? Well, take a wild guess. Yeah, it was huge YouTuber bait for a good bit, because people liked when the funny YouTube man got angry at the game.
Oh no, the mayor of QWOP is going to cry!
I think you get the picture by now that most of these rage games have their popularity carried by YouTubers.
Look at him! Go forward, you fucking idiot! God damn it.
The game was actually a bit of a fad for a little while. It was all over the place for a short period, and of course, Mr. Bennett Foddy had stuff on the back burner to capitalize. He put out a semi-sequel in 2011 called GURP. It still had all the physics of QWOP, but this time you were mountain climbing with rising water trying to kill you. It was interesting, but didn't really capture the same appeal as the original. So then Foddy went back to the drawing board, and he released a third game of the QWOP trilogy called QWOP, where now it was the same concept, but now you were a horse going from right to left. Truly a shake-up in game design. But unfortunately for Foddy, Friendship is Magic was massively popular around the time this released, and the term QWOP had a completely different meaning around the time. If you know, you know. Now, like all fads, interest in QWOP eventually died down, but I think the impact QWOP had is more substantial than one might remember. Now, I might be completely wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure QWOP is what kickstarted the entire genre of physics-based movement games. You know, games where the majority of them depends on your character flopping around like a wet sausage everywhere. Stuff like that is still made to this day. It's a whole genre now. You got stuff like Octodad, where you control an octopus man and control each of his tentacles to get around daily tasks, 100% inspired by QWOP, or stuff like Human Fall Flat, or even stuff where you control someone or something in the most cumbersome way possible, like a piece of bread trying to find its way to a toaster in I Am Bread. Now, of course, it probably wasn't entirely just QWOP. A ton of games just like it came out around the time. It was probably a direct result of all of these games collectively. All of these games can be incredibly frustrating to play. They are all purposefully awful to control.
Oh, no, fuck it, no, fuck you, no! I'm done with this.
And even Bennett Foddy himself was able to come back with another incredibly frustrating game to play. We all probably know it. Getting Over It. His biggest game yet, and he was able to capture lightning in a bottle twice, as this was yet another game everyone was playing for a bit. Another fad game in the bag, and plenty of bag for him because of it. And right now, as we speak, he's currently working on another one, still tapping into that QWOP design philosophy. And yeah, he's probably more well known as a game developer than a philosopher at this point, speaking of which, but I don't think he's complaining. So yeah, short-lived fad game went on to arguably inspire many more to be created, with mixed results. So the next time you play a game with purposely annoying physics and controls in it, you know the game and the creator to blame. And he's just laughing the entire time. I've played every single game shown in this video because I like to get my hands dirty once in a while and get a real taste of what these games have to offer. Yet they were all very frustrating to get through. Some of them I of course didn't even bother trying to finish because I have no hair to pull out, so I'll be pulling out chunks of my scalp instead. Out of everything I've played today, it was no contest what game pissed me off the most. And another game that was inspired by the big adventures of Owata's life and Cat Mario. It was an evolution of those games, one could say. I Want to Be the Guy was made based off one idea by the developer, who goes by the name Kayan. And that idea being, what if I made Cat Mario, but harder? And so Kayan got straight to work, and it was released in October in the year of our Lord in the Rage game, 2007. Now when I think of internet rage games, I Want to Be the Guy is the first game that pops into my head. It is the prime definition of a rage game. The rest of the games in this video are child's play compared to this. This game, like Cat Mario and Owata's Life, is filled with traps you would never see coming, multiplied by like 1,000. At least in Cat Mario, you can move along at a nice pace throughout the level. You move a centimeter and I Want to Be the Guy, and the next thing you know, you're dead. Everything wants you dead. Apples want you dead, Tetris blocks want you dead, the save points want you dead, and on top of that, this game loves spikes. Every single screen of this game is filled to the brim with instant death spikes, and you're constantly bobbing and weaving between them. Oh boy, doesn't this look fun, kids? So what is the goal of this game? Well, the goal is to become the guy. The game is open-ended, sort of structured like a Metroidvania, and your goal is to hunt down various bosses to open the way up to the lair of the guy. You can jump, double jump, shoot your gun, and that's about all you can really do. It's all you really need. The gun is only used to kill the sparse enemy here and there. It will mostly only really be used for boss fights and shooting save points. This game remixes a lot of areas and enemies from classic games into this, definitely including the boss fights. Nothing is funnier than entering this area, which is a clear homage to Super Metroid, then fighting a giant green Zangief who shoots blankets at you. I do enjoy how this game remixes all these classic games and assets together in this hodgepodge Metroidvania-like experience, but I don't really find myself enjoying it enough, because the game is constantly finding new and cheaper ways to murder you. I really wish there was more basic platforming and gameplay than playing hopscotch with spikes. And honestly, the boss fights are the highlight of the game, because they almost always have unique movesets and ways to kill them, and they're really the only part of the game that is truly fair. Well, actually, okay, Dracula killing you with a wine glass he throws is pretty good.
Mankind still needs a savior such as you.
What is a man?
I mean, if you ask me, I think it's a little too difficult and unfair for its own good, but that's probably just me being salty. And I am a salty bitch. A lot of people may disagree because this game is like an internet classic at this point. If you grew up on the internet in the late 2000s, you at least heard of the game. You can find tons of old Let's Plays of people playing it, way before the face cams and stage overreactions took over YouTube. It feels like every semi-popular Let's Player at least attempted the game at some point. It was popular enough to get its own sequel, I Want to Be the Guy Gaiden, which heavily amped up the production values, and also a slew of fan games. Oh my god, there are so many I Want to Be the Guy fan games. And some of these fan games continue the trend of being difficult and amplify it to the max. Just look at some of this. Look at it! It also got the attention of the original creators of the games that inspired it, as an updated version of Owata's Life had an area added in as a homage to I Want to Be the Guy. I lose my mind trying to play some of these fan games, so thank you to all these YouTubers for letting me steal your footage. I hadn't played this game in honestly well over a decade, and in that time frame, something slowly dawned on me. Why exactly rage games lost most of their luster? Most of the footage of me playing the game is just me attempting the same stuff over and over and over and over. Yeah, it's funny when I get angry to the outsider watching me, but after a while, it stops being entertaining when you're still stuck on the same section and still haven't moved on. At some point, you're just ready to finally get through it and onto something new.
Please stop, let's playing, I Want to Be the Guy. Please stop, let's playing, I Want to Be Thank you, God! It stopped you! Look at that! Look at that, you dumb shit! The game doesn't even want you doing this.
Alright, well that ends that.
Thank God.
I mean, looking back at some of my footage, my first recording of the game, after not having touched it in years, it took me 23 minutes to get past the first 2 screens, and I died 87 times. Does that sound fun to watch? Also, for those wondering, hard mode is the default difficulty. All it really changes is the number of save points. In impossible mode, there aren't any save points, so you can't die a single time or else you have to start the entire game over. Fuck you. Like, there's no denying this is an internet classic. Hell, you can go on Steam and download an entire program dedicated to making I Want to Be the Guy fan games. But like, the trial and error gameplay is a bit much for me at least. but I enjoy everything else about the game. I feel if it wasn't trying so hard to outdo Syobon action and let you walk more than a millimeter before trying to kill you with something, I'd enjoy it a lot more. And Syobon action's cheap deaths and tricks felt a lot more unique. There was always something different around the corner ready to kill you. This game tries to find every single way a spike can kill you, and it gets kinda old. But you know, some people love the super strict trial and error gameplay, some people have it memorized down to a science, speedrunning the game and beating it in record time. I could never. There is a lot to enjoy here, but I think it went way too far into the cheap death department. But you clicked on a video about rage games, this is exactly what you expected to see, and I don't think any other game encapsulates the rage game experience quite like I Want to Be the Guy. Here we are again at the end, and this video is probably the only thing I've actually completed today. Funny how that works. Playing through all these games has taught me one thing. It is funny to see someone else get mad. It isn't as funny when it's happening to you. That's just the human experience in a nutshell. These games provide a challenge to people who wanted to play them, and entertainment for the onlookers, so it was a 2-for-1 win, and that's why people keep making them. It seems like there's still a place for games that are made just to piss you off, and it doesn't look like that's stopping anytime soon. God bless, like and subscribe, and good night. And for the love of God, people, if you play these, please play something that's calm and relaxing to balance it out. It's not good for your blood pressure.
Oh my god, come on, man. Whoa, holy shit. I just blacked. Whoa! Whoa!
Move faster, Pokey! Faster! Faster! For the love of God, faster! Okay. I'm impressed I'm getting this on my first try.